Well, the collapse in the price of critical minerals and rare earths in the past 12 months caused the profit at Lynas to slump by 73% in the past year. Lynas renegotiated its licence to operate in Malaysia during the past year and also started processing rare earths at its Kalgoorlie facility. Its chief executive is Lacaze, who spoke with Ed Boyd a little earlier.
It has had its moments, certainly. Rare earths pricing has been very low. And to put this in perspective, a couple of years ago, the price for NdPr, which is the key product that we sell, I think topped out at about about $150 a kilo. In the year just past, it sat at the range of $40 to $45 a kilo for most of the year. And so clearly that has had an effect. For us, we recognise we work in a minerals market, and minerals markets sometimes have years where price is very good and sometimes years where price is not so good. So we understand that it's critically important that we have our costs well under control, which we do, and that means that we can be profitable when the price is low, as we have been in FY24, and we can be even more profitable when the price is high, which we would hope is going to be the case in the year ahead as we look at some firming of the price in the first couple of months of this financial year.
Yeah, what were some of those key triggers which caused prices to collapse so much over the past couple of years?
So I think the key issue really was a lot of supply side pressure, particularly in China, and some fairly moderated demand inside China as well. But I think we saw very, very rapid growth in demand in 2021, 2022. In China, production is regulated via a quota system, and that quota system, I think that, last year's quota, that got a bit ahead of demand. And so as a result, you had quite a lot of supply side pressure with inventory in the system. That has started to abate now, and indeed the latest set of quotas, which came out last week, are much more moderate. And I think that that's certainly helping to put a floor under the pricing. And as demand continues to increase, which it always has, it just wasn't growing as fast as it was previously. As it continues to increase, we would be hopeful that price will continue to firm further.
Yeah, China clearly has a stranglehold on the market at the moment, but if you look forward 5 or say 10 years, could that change?
Well, I think that I think that in the 10 years that I've been involved in Lynas, 10 years ago, if you spoke to government or regulators in, say, the US or the EU, and you said, I'm in rare earths, they'd say, oh, lithium, and no, rare earths. I think that across that time, that understanding of the market and the impacts of the market have become much more significant. I think that that now it is well recognised the importance of rare earths as part of the energy transition. And I think that particularly over the last 4 or 5 years, there's been a recognition of the risks associated with having a very concentrated supply chain. And we saw that particularly clearly with the pandemic. I think that the regulations and policy settings, particularly in the US and Europe, have become much more nuanced, with a combination of incentive programs, for example, the Inflation Reduction Act and tax credits in the US, and then some what I would call, penalty-associated policies, which set minimum standards for the amount of material that needs to come from non-Chinese sources. So I think that this is going to assist to further develop the industry, and the underlying growth in demand certainly is going to be beneficial for all involved.
Yeah, and the federal government in Australia, it obviously recognises rare earths as well. It launched its critical mineral strategy earlier this year. It's investing $840 million in Arafura rare earths. Is that increased competition in Australia going to be a positive or a negative for Lynas?
So when I went to university, which is more years ago than I'd like to acknowledge, I learned that monopoly markets are unhealthy markets. And it is true, monopoly markets are unhealthy markets. And so the more activity you have in a market, the more the market grows, the more innovation you get, the better it is for all stakeholders. So we look to our business, not to others. We look to our business, and we will be successful if we maintain our low-cost position and continuously improve it, if we ensure that our operations are safe and sustainable, and if we make sure that what we produce meets our customers' requirements. And then other firms can do what is necessary for their success, but we know that if we keep our focus on those matters, that we will be successful.
Well, you mentioned the US and the Inflation Reduction Act. The election is obviously looming. Is that outcome going to have any impact at all on Lynas or your business in the United States?
I don't think so. I think that there is one of the areas where both sides of the House understand very clearly the importance of the materials and the industry is rare earths. And our relationship with the US government has been with the Republican in the White House and has been with the Democrat in the White House. And we have seen that from a policy perspective that they were very consistent.